Alright, this is not a ballistic knife. It doesn't have a blade. If it did have a blade, it would be illegal under federal law because it is spring powered. Ironically, if it was air powered, it's perfectly fine. But anyway, it just has a screw on it. And what's interesting about these, if you ever watch the videos on, ballistic knives or Pilgrim knives or Spetsnaz knives, they're all the same thing, is that traditionally there's a single lever. So you're trying to use basic leverage, a lever, a fulcrum, over a short distance to try to release the 40 to 100 pounds of spring pressure. In this system, and I'll just release it real quick to let it go. I don't know what that hit. But in this system, there's actually two mechanisms. So instead of when you have a long lever and you're trying to retain all that spring pressure, generally what you're doing is you're putting the pressure in a situation where it doesn't want to release, and then you're forcing it through leverage. This is configured more like a drop sear, like what you'd see on, I don't know, a Timney trigger for an AR-15, or for airgun people, it would be like a Marauder rifle trigger mechanism. So that is the sear catch, and that rides on a pivot. Blocking that pivot when it's extended upward like this, stopping it from letting the tube go with the screw, is a dowel pin, a hardened steel dowel pin. And if you see right here, that dowel pin is also spring loaded in place. So while there is substantial friction when this is under spring pressure, you're getting additional mechanical advantage just from this release mechanism. You're probably getting another 4 to 5 to 1. And for whatever reason, even though it's hard to explain, when you only have the dowel interrupting the mechanism, that friction equates to less than the force applied onto this sear, and it's substantial. So you're basically compounding your mechanical advantage with a system like this, because in this situation, this actually wants to fire when it's in the up position, and I'm only impeding it with a 4mm steel dowel, as opposed to a long lever and handle like the majority of the ones you see. It's in a position where the sear is dug in, and its tendency is not to fire, and then you're forcing it to fire, by using a long lever and mechanical advantage. So I thought this was interesting anyway. I built it a couple months ago. It's not pretty. It works, obviously. I don't know what I hit on the other side of the garage. But yeah, that, in a compact fashion, reducing the force required to release a spring, and this could also be applied to like spring piston air rifles. A lot of those triggers are actually really impressive, because you're taking what was 200 pounds of force on the gas ram or the spring, in most cases, roughly 200 pounds, and in a very compact trigger mechanism, smaller than this, you're reducing that force to 3 to 5 pounds, and with adjustment, down to a pound. So, and those are all, off the top of my head, they're all actually drop sears. So they're a little more complicated to reset when it comes to triggers, but for home designs where you're trying to release a huge amount of force in a compact fashion and have a reasonable pull or trigger pull effort, you can design your own drop sear system, something like this, without the complexity of the reset system. So when I load that rod with the screw in here, and it gets all the way to the top, and the sear starts coming back to catch it, I just press down here and it'll let it hop over the top and then let it go again, and it's locked in place. So anyway, that's about it. Just some trigger thoughts and commentary, and let me know what you think. Subscribe.